Hi, Chibi here. I've been tagged by Shintai. He wants to know my 3 most memorable boss battles in RPGs. And this actually wasn't a very hard decision to make. So in no particular order, these are my top 3 most memorable bosses. The first one I'll talk about is Velius from Final Fantasy Tactics. And the reason why he's so memorable is due to the great lengths I've taken to defeat him. Now, Tactics was my very first strategy-based RPG, so it had a bit of a steep learning curve for me, but I did get into the flow of things after like maybe the 5th or 6th battles. But the problem was the story was so good that I did not grind my characters whatsoever. I kept beating the battles as fast as I could to find out what happened next. So when I get to the castle where Velius is in, I save while I'm inside, so there's no going back. The one-on-one battle with Wiggarf was actually quite easy, but when I got to Velius, I underestimated him really, really badly. He slaughtered me. Now, at first I wasn't that worried because I died a few times in the game. I'll just regroup and try again. Still killed me. I took my best guards, I gave him the best weapons, I gave him the best accessories, so I wouldn't turn a stone or a zombie or anything like that. I spaced my troops out so he couldn't kill me in one shot with Cyclops spell. Nothing. And I was so frustrated. I actually took a cooling off period. I stopped playing the game for a week or so, and when I went in, he still kept beating me. I think I was close at one point, but because you can't see their HP, I guess I'll never really know how close I really was. I got a nice few shots at him, but not enough to take him down. I was at that point that I said, I'm going to have to restart the game and work my way up to him, but I didn't want to do that because it took me so long to get to that point. And I was like, there's gotta be, I gotta beat him by dumb luck. I have to, but it just wasn't happening. But within my frustration, my mom came to me asking if I wanted to go to St. John's. Now, my dad is a truck driver and he often makes deliveries between major cities, St. John's being Newfoundland's capital. She said she was going for a trip and wanted to come. At first I was going to say no, but I said, wait a sec. There are malls and stores in St. John's. Stores that sell strategy guides. So I said, sure, Mom, I'll come with you. It'll be fun. When we got to town, my dad had to park the truck so he can, go into the building and do business. And there's a Toys R Us real close by, and I said to, hey, Mom, is it okay if I just go look at the video games at Toys R Us? And just sure. So the two of us, we went to Toys R Us, and sure enough, it had a Final Fantasy Tactics strategy guide, and this is the one right here. This is the one. Like, you can see the Toys R Us logo. The funny thing too is I think the cashier was a college-age student or something. I don't know, because when I checked this out, he was giving me this weird smile. And when I went to my mom, she said, like, Crystal, I think he likes you. I said, maybe it's because he never saw a gamer chick before. I don't know. But anyway, as soon as I got back to the truck, I started reading this thing like a Bible. And when I got to Velius, it didn't help me at all. It had the exact same strategy that I was using. I had the best equipment on. I had my troops all spread out. But apparently, the biggest problem was my levels. The recommended level that the guide told me I should be was much higher than what my troops currently were. So when I got home, I had to face the painful truth that I wasn't going to beat him in my current state. I had to start the game over, really, really whip my troops into shape. And by the time I got to him, I still died. But after a few more tries, I did beat Velius. Yeah, the second most memorable boss fight would be Indalecio from Star Ocean 2. And the reason why he's so memorable, because he was the most difficult boss I've ever faced in video games. Period. Indalecio is the last boss of Star Ocean 2. And in my first playthrough, I did it from Claude's point of view. And the game is not super easy, and it's not super hard either. It had a Goldilocks point. I can't really remember dying all that much. But when I got to Indalecio, holy hell. I thought I was prepared for him. My characters were in their, I think, mid-level 80s, like 85, 86. But the biggest problem is, as soon as I entered the battle, my main fighter was rushed into him, and he kept using this stupid purple beam that pushed them back and did insane damage. And it didn't take long before I lost the first fight. Okay, fine. I went into the strategies of all my characters and told them to stay back into defensive position. And once the purple wave was done, I quickly went to each of my characters and went full throttle. My attackers attacked him, my spellcasters were zapping him. It was all good until he started freezing in the middle of the screen and started talking to me. I'm like, yes, I must have beat him. But no, this purple busty angel came over him and it got way worse. So yeah, like he's the kind of boss that is easy at first, but he gets super hard super fast. I did beat him though. Really, I did beat him. After 15 tries, yes, I beat him. But the problem is, the game has over 80 different endings, and after that experience, I was like, there's no way I'm going to go that far to get those endings. But I did discover that you can alter the ending by doing different private actions in all of the different cities. So after my first time beating him, I saved. I left the tower, I did some different private actions, and I decided to make things easier on myself and grind my party a bit more. So I got them to level 99. I said, perfect, I'm now definitely ready for Indalecio. I go up the tower, however, as I was going up the tower, my characters reached level 100. What the hell? They can go past level 99? This was it's conventional wisdom in RPGs. When you level up your characters, that you don't go any further than level 99. When mine reached level 100, I was like, ooh, things are different. So I grinded my characters to level 120. I think I got them pretty high. I went to fight Indalecio. It was the same thing. Now, it didn't take me 15 tries to beat him, maybe like 6 or 7. But he was still super, super, super hard to beat. So I did get a slightly different ending afterwards. I only did it one more time when I replayed the game from Rena's point of view. And I just said, fuck it. I think in total I got four endings, and that is enough. You know, he just, Indalecio is not worth the frustration to get all those endings. But I can at least say that I beat one of RPG's most difficult bosses, so I am kind of proud of that. My third most memorable boss would be Corcel, the big dragon in Star Ocean 3. And the reason why he's so memorable was because he was a complete pushover. I have the player's guide for Star Ocean 3, but I was only using it off and on, mostly for any tips on a new dungeon or any advice on the next boss that was coming along. According to the guide, Corcel the dragon was supposed to be a real big challenge, so I said, well, when it comes to my experience with the second Star Ocean, I better prepare. The cool thing in the game is all the items you can create for the different skills you have. Alchemy was one of the most useful because you can create minerals that you can then attach to your weapons to increase your attack, the defense, and magic, or anything like that. There was a mineral you can create with alchemy called Orichalcum, I think. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I know it starts with an O, it's a big long word, or Orichalcum. One of my highest level alchemists created the Orichalcum, and I looked at the stats, and it increases attack by 300 points, I think. I think it's either 300 or 500. Anyway, that was a lot. So when I got my first Orichalcum created, I fused it into Fate's primary weapon, and I fought a few battles. I'm like, wow, this really works. Like, I'm like killing enemies left, right, and center. But see, that wasn't enough. I'm going to fight a big ass dragon. So I said, you know what? I should make some more Orichalcums. So I did. I maxed out my alchemy level. I kept making like, I think I had like maybe 3, 4, or 5. I made a shit ton of Orichalcums, and I attached all of them to Fate's sword. So not only did I have the most powerful sword at that point in the game, but I had like maybe 5 or 6 orichalums attached to it. So each orichalum had plus 300 or so attack. So you can do the math. His weapon was completely overpowered and can probably kill God himself. So I'm like, yes, I'm prepared. I go to Corcel. The battle starts with that awesome music, near, and I beat him in like 30 seconds. Yeah. Now the thing is, Corcel has 2 stages. You beat him in the first shot, which happened pretty quickly, but apparently in the second phase, he's supposed to be a lot harder. He goes all out on your team. I slaughtered him again. I actually remember being pretty disappointed. I'm like, damn, like this dragon is huge. Like he's such an important physical point of the game, and I beat him in like record time. So yeah, he was incredibly easy to beat. And you know what? The rest of the game it just flew by. Like the challenge was completely removed from my overpowered sword. The same sort of thing happened at the last boss, because of my experience of Star Ocean 2, I figured, okay, Star Ocean 3's boss is going to be super hard as well. And I beaten him in about a minute, less than that maybe. So yeah, Corcel was easy, but it was just so damn funny how I beat him so fast. I really wasn't expecting it to end that way. I wasn't, but yeah, I had fun with super powered orichalum swords. So yeah, those are my 3 most memorable boss fights in RPGs. Not all of them were difficult, not all of them were easy, but they all had a pretty fun story behind them, and in all my years of gaming, though, like those 3, I will never forget my experiences with those 3 bosses: Velius, Indalecio, and Corcel. So this is Chibi Neko signing out.